Some people might even think it's a scam, that it's too good to be true. Some people are on the fence, they're not sure what to do. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say, firstly, I understand them because I went through the same process, but this is something different because, as I mentioned, you are not offering a dream, you're just offering a high paying job that is something very possible to do. So it's also not that expensive to get. And if they put the work in, they will get the results. So just put some faith on it, and that's it.
That's it. What made you get the course in the first place? There's a million different courses out there about all these different ways to generate income online. Why did you go with mine?
Mostly because you were not selling a dream. You didn't mention I was going to become rich in a few months after getting your course. You didn't mention I was going to get thousands of dollars just by pressing a button. And I was looking for someone who was honest because I went through many different courses in which Forex, Amazon FBA, whatever, and none of them really worked for me. And I was, as I mentioned, just looking for someone who could be honest. And you mentioned I was going to get a high paying job after 6 months of work, and if I was a hard worker person, and that made me like feel you were honest with what you were offering. So that was it.
That makes sense. Thank you. Thank you for that, man. That's good to hear. Now, after you did join, what did you think about the course? What did you think about working with me?
When I reviewed the entire course, it was like, okay, now I'm 100% sure this guy knows what he's talking about because the information you share is something like you can tell you have the experience, and it's something that you are not going to find just by googling or something. It's something that's someone who really put the work is going to teach you. So going through the course was what made me feel that I was in the right hands.
All right, so why did you get the course in the first place? There's a lot of different options. I'm sure you've seen many different courses out there teaching all these different ways to generate an income online. Why did you go with mine to begin with?
Yeah. So I was looking for a low risk way to learn a new skill. So in the beginning, I was actually not actually looking to get a job, but rather learn this skill for myself. And then I was looking to, yeah, like thinking about it more. So what made me go for you is it wasn't really trying to sell me like a get rich quick scheme. It was rather like a legit skill, like media buying that businesses actually need. And also with it being a job, I knew that it didn't involve like any crazy capital requirements or something like that. And also it felt like an on an eye level approach to me. So not very loud or flashy. So I just gave it a shot. Um, yeah.
Yeah, appreciate that. That makes sense. Now, after you did join, you started going through the course. What were your thoughts on the course and then on working directly with me?
So the 12 classes, I believe it was, um, really felt intentional. Like you put a lot of thought in these presentations and walking through this. And working with you was actually like one of the best parts because the direct feedback and getting like feedback on my own work was great. And you were always available for like any questions we had, and you didn't like sugarcoat things or so. Um, yeah, that was great.
Awesome, man. You're actually one of the only students that already has got to the end of the program, and you got a job now. Congrats on that, by the way. Now, thinking about the ones that are starting the program or even they're about to join, and obviously they have the same goal as you, just to ultimately get a job. What advice would you give them?
Mm. Well, put your head down, work. You don't need to be like loud or flashy. Um, make your actions speak louder than words. Believe in yourself and find a way of putting out the skill you have gained in other jobs, which might not be related to the current role, but what they taught you, so that you can also present these to like a future employer as something that even if it's unrelated to the current role or might seem unrelated, that you still gained valuable experience that will help you progress in the current role. So that you make sense or like craft an own narrative about why you transitioned and how they can also make sense of it.
That's a really good point that nobody has made that point before. Like you can always use even unrelated experience to your own advantage to show
Yeah.
that you've learned something before, you've gotten good at something before. And a lot of times you can even use unrelated, seemingly unrelated experience and somehow relate it to what you're currently doing. It's ultimately all about knowing how to sell yourself with what you have, basically, which is what you were able to do. Now, as far as people who they're looking into the course, they've seen my video, they're thinking, maybe this is something they want to do, but they're skeptical. Some people might think maybe it's just a scam because it sounds too good to be true. Some people are just on the fence. What would you say to those people?
Mm. I mean, just getting the course in the first place was actually like a no-brainer for me, like a no-brainer offer, because you basically get a lot of value for what other people charge a lot more money for, I would say. So you don't have really much to lose there. And mm, apart from that, um, yeah, I'm always of like investing in yourself always pays the best dividend, I would say. So with your course, um, yeah, it actually felt like honest and you like cared about your students progressing and not just in there for like the quick buck. It was more like of this feeling. Uh, yeah,
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's good to hear. Thank you so much.
no worries.
What made you go with my course in the first place?
Basically, because you said it was not a get rich quick scheme. I've seen tons of those come by online, and everybody wants to have the next big thing and shortcuts here and shortcuts there. And the way you said, like, it's basically a job, but it's a great job. It's a great skill you're gonna learn. You can work from anywhere in the world. And I'm like, that's what I need. I have 2 kids. I like to be at home for them if anything happens. So for me to level up and find a new skill that could potentially land me a job that allowed me to work from home or around my kids' schedules, that was it for me. Like, I'm not in it for schemes and all of those kind of things. Like, no, I like a real job. Yeah, and the flexibility, of course, that comes with it. Brilliant.
Awesome. Good to hear. And by the way, I hope everyone hears that because even though, and yeah, I'm sure you remember watching my video and my ads, that's the first thing I say. This is a job, it's not a business. There's a lot of people that still think that this is a business where you have to get clients, where you have to have the constant grind of getting clients and trying to become a millionaire and a get rich quick scheme. So I hope people hear this because it is a job. It's a job. It's a really good job, but it's a job.
Yeah.
It's a job. So thank you for mentioning that. Now, after you joined, what did you think about you started going through the course? What did you think about the course? And then what did you think about working directly with me?
Well, I joined the course knowing absolutely nothing. So I was a completely blank slate. So yeah, everything that I learned about me about it was a completely new concept to me. The only thing that really stuck with me is because of my kids. They watch a lot of things on their phones and stuff, and they get so sick of the ads. And I'm thinking, oh my God, ads, that's how they make money. And these ads are everywhere. And I could be behind those ads. Oh my God, that
Light bulb moment.
like it, yeah, light bulb moment. Like, and obviously you want to stay current, you want to level up, you want to um not necessarily beat AI, but lots of jobs are going to be replaced. So if you can find a way to leverage AI, work with AI, and stay ahead of everything, so that was also in the course. So yeah, I was like, that is really, really cool. So I managed to learn a whole new skill, making myself more relevant on the job market, feeling like I leveled up because it was something I had no idea of before. And yeah, working with you, I like the idea that you were very available. If there were any questions, you were always happy to answer them. Very knowledgeable, obviously, with what you've been doing, your experience, all of that. And it was really cool to have that also. Like, we could pick your brain if we needed any help or answers or whatnot. So it was, yeah, a great experience.
Awesome, thank you. And by the way, you did learn the skill because you're one of the only students, not one of the few students that has already finished the program. Basically, you got the job, and that's the goal that every student is setting now. Every student who's joining right now or who's about to join. So, what would you say to them? Everyone who's joining now, and obviously has the same goal that you had. What advice would you have for them?
To definitely listen to what you're saying. If you are there and you are giving the tips and the tricks and all of these kind of hacks, you know what you're talking about. You've done it, you know where you're coming from, you know how to do it. So if you're telling us to do your homework, or if you are telling us to put in the work, keep your eyes and ears open. If you say reach out for free work, especially especially the homework, that is basically you learning this skill. If you are not familiar with the programs you're using, then obviously the homework is a way of getting the knowledge in there and getting that skill sorted. So when you do get the job, you can hit the ground running. That's basically what happened to me. It's like they are trying to explain something to you and you already know what they're talking about, and that makes everything so much more effortless. You can run with the pros, if I can say that. Like, I didn't have the working experience. I couldn't say like, oh, I've been doing this for so many years. No, I actually was doing it for so many months, so many weeks, basically. Because it was about 6 months after I started the course that I landed the job. And yeah, it basically gave me everything I needed to hit the ground running. So if you are saying put in the work, make sure you put in the work, because it is worth it.
That's it. It's putting in the work.
Yeah.
It's like I put everything into the program so that you can get to the end of the 6 months and get the job without all those years of experience. And you get to the job interviews, you get to the actual job, and you're not clueless. You actually know what you're doing because you've already done it in a way during those 6 months. That's the whole thing. Now, what would you say to those people that are looking into the course? They've seen the ads, they're curious, they're interested, but they're skeptical. Some people might even think it's a scam because it sounds too good to be true. What would you say to them?
Well, to me, I felt like it was a low risk, high reward kind of situation, because it is a course. Like, if you don't like the course, you at least learn something about something you didn't know much about. You can still say that something was triggered in you, some kind of curiosity was satisfied because you went along with it, you saw what it was. But of course, I don't think you'll be disappointed, especially if you're starting fresh like me. It's definitely something that will, yeah, you will learn a new skill, and you will be more relevant to the job market right now because you went from zero to knowing more than you did before. So for me, it was a low risk to take. I was skeptical, of course, but as you said, it was a job. You're going for a job. It's not like you're going to work really hard and you do your homework for 2 months and after that you're a millionaire. It's nothing like that. It's literally going to school, studying a craft, learning a skill, and putting it to use when you are looking for the job, and especially when you land the job, then yeah, grab your laptop, travel the world, do whatever, because you can do that as long as you have internet. You can do your job, and it's yeah. I'm very happy with that.
That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So what made you get the course in the first place? There's so many out there teaching you all these different ways to generate an income online. Why did you go with mine?
Well, first of all, I have to say the biggest green flag was for me anyway that you are still working as a one-man team. Therefore, you're personally working with all of your students, which is a great thing. Most of these, like, people that do courses and stuff like that, they have a whole team behind them. So there's not actually any personal, work going on between the one who's selling the course and of course the students. So it was that was the biggest green flag for me. Um, yeah, I'd say that was the main thing. Also, you were saying how you were a student yourself before and you didn't have the money to pay for a expensive course and stuff like that. And that's the reason why the course you made was the price it is. And yeah, that kind of was another green flag for me also. And more overall, you just came across very genuine. No flexing, no none of that type of stuff. So it was yeah, only green flags for me anyway.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Actually, nobody else had mentioned that. The first point you made about me being a one-man team, which is something I usually talk to people about. It's just I prefer it that way. I don't
Yeah,
want to, I'm the one with the skill, so I want to be the one teaching you the skill. Because I think that's the optimal way to do it. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Okay,
no.
so now that though there were all those green flags, you decided to join. After you joined, what did you think about the course? What did you think about working with me?
Um, First of all, the course, I'll begin at the start. I could tell you were very eager for all of the students to actually get the results that we pay for. The first thing you mentioned in the course was that you need to put in the work no one else is willing to put in, So from the start, I got the feeling of you being eager to actually, help us acquire the results that we came in here for. Most people, I'd say, they sell the course, put out the information, whether you do it or not. They don't really care because they got paid anyway. So it's definitely that was the biggest thing for me, the biggest shock for me in as an instance. Um, yeah. Again, whenever I have a question, whenever I am stuck on something, you're always there to answer whatever concerns I have about the course. And not only about the course, I remember I reached out to you for some book recommendations, just to get myself above the others in the industry. And yeah, you had no problem, just without hesitation, giving me some recommendations and pointing me in the right direction.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, man. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Now, what would you say to those people that haven't joined yet? They're in the process. They know they've learned about it. They're a little bit skeptical. Some of them might even think it's a scam because it sounds too good to be true. Some of them are just on the fence. What would you say to them?
Man, I have to start off with without risk. There's no reward, so if you're even thinking about it, you know that there's an opportunity here. So man, I'd say just do it. That's exactly what I did. I was looking for a change in direction in life. I stumbled across your ad on YouTube and instantly I just dove in after I watched your video that the link brought us to. I watched it, dove straight into it without any questions, and it was the best decision I made because I didn't waste any time procrastinating, whether I should do it, whether I shouldn't do it. There was without taking the risk, you're not gonna get rewards. It's how life works. So 100%, it's my message out to the people that are skeptical about it is the course isn't that expensive for you not to take the risk, you know. So I would say definitely invest in yourself, and yeah, you won't be disappointed, and that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And that's a really good point. That's the perfect example of the people that I'm talking to in my video. I really emphasize, and you probably remember this, I emphasize don't join if you're, not 100% that this is what you want to do. Like, don't join if just want a quick fix for something. Join if you have the mentality that Adam has. That's it. So the marketing worked.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No worries, man. Enjoy.
What made you get the course in the first place? There's many other courses out there, which I'm sure you saw before getting mine, about all these different ways to generate income online. So among all those, why did you decide to go with mine?
I decided to pick this one because it didn't look like a gimmick, and it's not a gimmick. How I first reviewed this myself is when I bought the course. I noticed that it was a beta version back then. It was the first testing version. And because I had bought a similar course from a friend of mine that was drop shipping, yes, he also had this small dilemma at the beginning when how to say, it was a beta version. So the site didn't work necessarily perfect, but the information was gold, you know?
Mhm.
And that's how I realized that it was good. And that's how it proved out to be. And nowadays, even the videos and everything else is perfect. It's the alpha version, so to say. Yes, and yeah, that's a big reason. And I guess I was also looking for something else that I can do on my own while being locationally free. That was um that was a very big thing for me as well. Yeah, a little bit off topic, but yes,
Yeah,
that's
no.
another part as well.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And then obviously you got the course, you started working with me. What did you think about working directly with me? What was your experience like?
It was awesome because everything was online, all the information you needed, and look, you could answer like 99.99% of the questions you ever had in mind. Like there might have been one instance where you couldn't answer, and it was like, "Hey, that's a very good question." Jada. It was like out of like 40 lessons, maybe one, maybe. So you really know what you're doing, and yeah, that's you have the teaching experience. I know that you're in your late 20s, like me, but you have the teaching experience for an outsider. It looks as if you were like in your 40s teaching. That's well. That's how well you teach. You have like it seems like you have over 10 years of experience. Yeah, that's how I would say.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. That's really good. Okay, now with that in mind, what would you say to those people that are, they've learned about the course, but they're skeptical about joining? Some of them may even think it's a scam because it sounds too good to be true. Some of them are just on the fence. What would you say to those people?
Well, $67 is not much, and you get plenty of value for that. You get more than enough of value for $67. And I can't stress this enough. It's not a gimmick. It's not how to start drop shipping. It's none of this stuff. It's a profession. It's a legit profession. Though it is a new field because you're effectively replacing marketing agencies. Yes, so it's not a gimmick. It's a real thing.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, man.
Hey, thanks, man. Peace.
So, why did you decide to get the course in the first place? There's so many courses out there teaching all these different ways to generate an income online. Why did you go with mine among all those?
Yeah. Well, you did have great marketing because you had researched your ideal customer, which is something you teach people to do on their own. But it's not just about researching an ideal customer so you can sell something. It's actually a real person who has a real problem, and that was actually my real problem. I have in my early 20s, because I'm in my early 30s now. In my early 20s, I remember about $2,500 and then probably $7,000 on coaching. and it was for consulting and then for freelancing in this area of work. And so something very specific that stood out with your ad, which was really kind of like a case study. I I felt like it was my story was that not everyone is wired to have their own business. I believe this is what it covered.
Yep.
And so you can have independence without having your own business. And the way to do it is to get a highly freed up job where you are remote and then you learn a very valuable skill set. And I always kind of had that in corporate. Like I had my own career. I wasn't married to one company. So I moved around a bit, but I never thought about online work being remote, and that really spoke to me. And also the fact that you were looking for case studies. I couldn't believe how cheap this was because I have spent so much money in the past and gotten so little out of stuff. So I just thought, okay, I can actually see where this connects to an income at the end versus somebody training you and being like, all right, now go find your own clients. I was like, oh, I can see where this goes. You can do this training, you have a skill set, then you can apply for a job and get a job where somebody's reliably paying you. And to me, that just checked the boxes that made sense. So that's why I got your course. It made sense.
Yeah.
And I wasn't an uneducated shopper, and it was worth it. Very good course. Yep. Not a waste of my time, not a waste of my money either. I actually had less money than usual, and I was surprised that I could afford it. So I felt like it was an opportunity that God had provided me just because I worked my butt off and not gotten so far. So I'm super excited about this. This is the first time that I feel like I know exactly what I'm doing and I can make a career of this. So yeah, it's amazing. Thank you.
That's awesome, man. It's really good to hear that. That's the whole point of doing this. So thank you for that. Now, once you got into the course, you started going through the lessons. It's a weekly lesson. What were your thoughts? Like, what did you think about the course itself once you got in, once you went through it?
I think you're good at teaching. One, I liked the fact that you started out with what you have to do here is what no one else is willing to do. And that was with what it started out with. And I actually went to medical school. It wasn't for me. And something I learned from medical school, the way I retain information, I think it works for a lot of people, is handwrite notes on lectures and then type them. And I would do that for tests, like big tests. And so that's what I did with yours. You're like, go through this multiple times. It's like, okay, I know how to study this and like internalize it. It's like, all right, cool. I know how to internalize this. So I handwrote everything you said, and then I typed up everything that you said, and that was how I would process each lesson. And then when it became more hands-on, I did more hands-on stuff. But I would say for anyone who's looking at doing this, that it does start out lecture-based, and it's really important to study hard in the very beginning because it's important to internalize that, because then you can just completely focus on something else and you have a baseline understanding of what the point of all of this is. And when I first started doing the technical aspects of media buying, I thought, this is so much information, I'll never get it. But even putting in all that work on the front end, I probably worked 125% effort, like really hard in the beginning. And then it actually became quite a bit easier because once I knew how to do Facebook ads and learn those principles, then they kind of just applied to the other platforms. So it wasn't half as hard to pick up the others. Yeah.
100%. And that's one of the reasons why I insist, and I always re-emphasize, especially in the first lesson, I talk about this a lot, which is just watch it multiple times. Take as many notes as you can, because there's a lot of, especially in the beginning, the technical side of it, it takes repetition, just like any skill. But if you go through that repetition in the beginning, then eventually it becomes easy. And it's also why I divided the course into two parts. Like the first 3 months is just focus 100% on learning and on acquiring the skill. And then the second 3 months, focus 100% on looking for a job. Which brings me to the next question, which is you're one of the few students that I have that has already reached the end of the program. You got a job. Congrats on that.
Thanks.
Do you remember how much time it took you since you joined the course until you got the final interview and got the notice that you were getting a job?
I started the course in September of last year, and now it is mid-March. So
it was
I
about,
think it's 7 months.
yeah, 6, 7 months, yeah. So
I don't think that the 26 weeks is up. It may be.
Yeah, it's
So
exactly that time.
I'm actually amazed because I never thought I would be a person who would actually within the time frame get a job, but here we are. So, yep.
That's awesome, man. What would you say to those people that are just starting the course, or even some people that are just about to get it? And they also obviously have the same goal as anyone that joins the course to get the job. What advice would you give them?
Um, if this work is right for you, the lifestyle is right for you, then this course can help you get there. It can get you there as long as you do what is asked of you in the course. And there are plenty of courses out there that don't actually get you from the beginning of learning something new to actually earning an income. There are plenty of courses that don't do that. So if the lifestyle is right for you and you're willing to do what is asked of you, which isn't terrible, it is effort, it's consistent effort, but it isn't terrible, and you're just willing to work hard, then you can make a living with this lifestyle. Yep.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, some people are looking into the course. They've seen my video, but they're a little bit skeptical. Some people might even think it's a scam because it sounds too good to be true. Some people are just on the fence. What would you say to those people since you've already gone through everything?
A scam is when somebody takes your money and then they don't give what they say that they're going to give you. So objectively, this is not a scam because you do get a 26-week course. And it might surprise you that the whole course is not you studying lectures. So it's not impossible. And there is actually an opportunity for you to invest further if you want to actually get more mentorship. So no one's leaving you without opportunities, and the path is there. So that's not a scam. And then a lot of times you'll see scammy sorts of advertisements for 5, 6 figure incomes, and that's also not a scam because you can go on LinkedIn or any other website application platform now and see that. Just search for media buyer right now, and you can see that if you can get this job, then you can earn a publicly disclosed 5 to 6 figure income doing this work. So it's all about learning how to do this work. And then really with the course, becoming confident enough in yourself that you can do it. And then somebody believes you can, and then you get a job. I've applied to plenty of jobs where they asked for 2, 3 years of experience. And I try not to apply to ones that explicitly said, we want this. But I would apply to some, and I honestly don't remember the listing for this job I just got. They took it down before I had the interview. But it was probably one that said they wanted 2+ years of experience, and I have 7 months. So.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because it's, a lot of these requirements, as long as you can come in and you know how to sell yourself, they forget about a lot of that stuff. And you're a really good example of that. So
Well,
yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so what made you get the course in the first place? There's a million different courses out there teaching you how to generate an income online. Why did you get mine among all those?
Well, you were speaking to who I am, which is somebody who wants time and location freedom anyways. But the thing is, I've tried many different things. I've tried many different programs and, the funnel building course that I took. And I just didn't have a mentor that I felt like really guides me through these processes. So like when you were talking on your advertisement. I was like, you know what? He has all these qualities that I'm missing, like super organized and thorough and like very well covered in that area. And also I liked how you were talking to my inner perfectionist and you said, that making ads is like a science, not art. And it really clicked with me because I'm like, okay, now I don't have to be perfect and follow like intuition, but you're like, no, it's science. You can test it. You will just try hundreds of different ones and see what works. So I was like, you know what, this is doable. This is like, I just felt like it would be doable, that I can learn it and I can practice until I get it. It was very encouraging.
Yeah, it clicked. And that's one of the main things that I keep repeating to students every day. Remember, don't try to create a piece of art. It's science. Just try to create as much as you can, and eventually something's going to work, which is hard because a lot of people like to sit down and from the beginning try to do something that's going to be really cool. It's natural. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
clicked. Okay, now after you joined, what were your thoughts about the course, about working directly with me? Yeah, what did you think?
Well, I when I started the course, then after the first video already, I was like, okay, yeah, this is the right thing. Like, this is the right person to follow because the way you were covering all bases, like I would literally have questions in the beginning of the video, and by the end of it, it would be all answered because you're covering all these different corners or different ways of looking at this one problem. And at the end of it, it's like, wow, everything was explained. Like, so awesome. Let's do it. Like, let's try a first challenge or whatever, let's try to put it in action or play around. It's so nice to follow you because you really are thorough. And I think with something like this, all bases have to be covered because the more questions you have in the process that are unanswered, the more demotivating it feels to keep going.
Yep. Yeah, all bases do have to be covered, especially in such a job like media buying and that's one of the reasons why I say to every student, don't try to rush, like watch every lesson multiple times because that most of the answers should be there. If they're not, obviously you can always ask me, but most of the answers should be there. And a lot of the times when you think the answers aren't there is because you just watched the lesson one time and you took your first notes. That's why it takes watching multiple times, taking a lot of notes. And
It
that's
took
why
me 5 hours to go through a 1.5 hour video. It took me 5 hours to really work through it and understand it. And like, yeah, it took many times of writing notes over and over. And like, yeah, it because at first it's a lot of information. So, when somebody is thinking like, can I get just an easy way out and score an easy job? You still have to put in a lot of effort to,
of course, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because it's definitely not. It's not an easy job. It's not an easy way out. And that's a good segue for the next question, which is now that you've been in it for a little bit, what would you say to the people that haven't joined yet? They're skeptical. Some people might even think it's a scam because it sounds too good to be true. Some people are on the fence. What would you say to them?
Well, I wouldn't say it's too good to be true because the thing is, you're making money for the corporations. Like spending 10 grand on somebody to make them 100 grand in a month, it's a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't they pay you that? The thing is, you just have to get good, and that's by practice, and that's by putting in the effort. So, like, I think with anything online, if if you just keep going at it, you will become successful. But like with my other projects, I never became successful because I didn't put in the right effort and I didn't have the right mentor to do it. And I had too many questions. I got stuck and I quit. That's like a pattern that I've had in the past. So this time I really wanted to do it differently, like I really wanted to put in the effort. And I think, for somebody who would think if it's a scam, they would have to think if they are willing to actually be serious, because obviously it's not a scam. Obviously you're a real person and, teaching people from your real skill. Now it's up to them to use it,
100%. And that's the mindset, like that mindset shift that you had. That's what you need. Because
Mhm.
nothing's going to work no matter how good a course is if you don't have that mindset of, I'm going
Mhm.
to be serious about this. I have to do this. So
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, it's better to make a very clear decision and maybe even sit with it. Like making decisions like that, I usually rushed into them with emotions, and this time I also sat with it and like made sure that I'm serious about it, you know.
Fantastic. All right, thank you so much.